and you're live on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm eating my bean salad.
Did you get the recruiting video I sent you too, Cliff?
Yeah, that's it already. It's in the system.
That's loaded in. All right, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have. All right, so the live works on Facebook. I see that.
I'm going to share it to my pages.
Did you get the recruiting video I sent you too, Cliff?
Yeah, that's it already. Get the volume up.
All right. Facebook's looking good.
Corey.
Yeah.
I have the Northwell Help people who are going to come on my show. I'm going to have them go on your show too. So I
Cool.
think it's a good idea for you guys to do a show about coronavirus and have experts talk.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
I am going to go off and I'm going to bring Al in.
Yeah, that's a good
Al?
idea. So you're removing the live, right?
I'm going to be live, but you're not going to see me, but I'm going to keep my volume down in case you need to talk to me.
Okay.
Al, give me a second.
No problem.
Al, you're on.
How we doing, man?
Coach Burt, what's up, man?
Nothing much. How you guys holding up?
We're healthy, which is one positive.
Hey, Coach and Corey, I'd like to do something. Corey, I'd like to get you and the coach kind of like the same size. Corey, I think you need to go forward a little bit, and Coach, I think you need to sit up and go back a little bit. So you can see how much higher Corey is?
I actually don't have Corey on my screen.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I don't have Al either.
I
there
got
he
you
is.
now. All right.
Is there a way for you to sit up at all, Coach, or is it where your chair is located?
Yeah, I can sit up. You got two
yourself?
of me on here though.
I only see one of you. Well, that's because you're seeing yourself. You're not center
Yeah.
yourself. Go to your right a little bit more. Teeny bit more. Good.
Good.
Corey, can you sit up anymore or no? Or can you tilt? Is that a laptop?
Well, I think it's his laptop. I think
Can
it
you
has to be
tilt it a little
tilted
bit?
down a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you
Now,
go.
Tilt it back. You want to be at the same height Corey is.
You want me to tilt mine back a little bit?
Yeah. And Corey, I want you to get a teeny bit closer. I want you to be
Closer?
the same size as him, yeah. Closer. Okay, that's good. I'm going to take you guys off. So, Corey, you want to start first and then introduce the commercial? How do you want to get going?
Yeah, I think we should. I'll do a quick introduction. I'll say, hey, we got Coach Al on the show, and he'll do another quick introduction of himself for people that don't know him that are watching, and then we'll cut to commercial break, and then we'll come right back in and just get it rolling.
Okay. The new normal.
Hey, Al, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Cor.
Awesome. Are you cool with some of the topics, left questions I fired at you?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'll answer them the best I can.
Sure. I know it's uncertain, kind of just interesting times. So there's only so much we can definitively say, but I think a lot of people are just so curious about like what's next.
Yeah, it's it's an unknown. There's a lot of stuff going on, and then there's a lot of stuff like, people are holding on here, but it's the unknown factor that I think it has people anxious. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. How how have you kind of responded to it with your team?
Well, I mean, we've been together. We're together a lot, so I mean, when it started to fold, I was already in the mode of let's prepare for the best, and we have to also be cognizant of expecting the worst, and then Mount Sinai was pretty good. They didn't jump right away, and then when they closed school, we were able to go in and practice a little bit. And then the edict came down that once school is closed and we will close, then it got real. You know what I mean? So we kind of wrote out the first few days. We went through some of the same things. Everybody wanted to keep business as usual on the outside,
Corey, I'm just gonna
and
bring you
it's just a
live.
magnet. What's that?
What'd you say, Cliff?
I'm just gonna, since you guys are talking already, I'm just gonna bring you live, like pre-show.
Okay.
Everybody wanted to maintain business as usual, and it wasn't business as usual anymore. Especially when they came down with the social distancing. And, oh, that's great. Yeah, dude. Hey,
Enjoy your
take
walk.
it from a grandpa. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, Coach Allen.
Coach Al don't mind, believe me. Yeah, I love it, man.
It's it, man. That's one I guess one positive, right? More time with family during these times.
Well, it is for you guys too, especially. It's different for us. We were empty nesters here for a while. We actually got Courtney's back living with us for a little bit. While she's working with the Riptide. Her here, she's home working from. I gave her my office downstairs, and so it's been good for us. My wife, Trish, Court. I've been Skyping with my daughter in Connecticut. She's a phys ed teacher and a coach, so we've been doing a lot of things. She taught me how to use Zoom. I've Zoomed with the team, so it's been good,
Yeah, Zoom's great because you can essentially incorporate I think pretty much countless amount of people on a video conference. You could probably get your whole team on there if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I believe I haven't done it sooner, so you learn something new all the time. I'm an old dog, but I like the new tricks. So the Zoom part, I mean, we're actually the next meeting we're gonna have. I'm gonna do some installs. You know what I mean? Because we were like, what I saw coming was I actually saw this coming because I'm retired. I'm home. I've been watching the news a lot, and I would go in and I would be saying, look, man, something's gonna happen here. You better be ready. So when I sat with the staff a little bit, we decided our seniors go away for a senior trip each year in the beginning of the year, and sometimes we kind of go slow until they come back. But I used the days that they were gone. We just did all our installs. We put everything in. You know what I mean? That we felt that we would have needed. Like I felt that if we lost a part of the season and then again, I had everything in. I had man up in, I had man down, and I had our rides, our clears. So we did a lot of installs. So we're ahead of the curve. Like I told the girls, I said, we've done so much work that, it's like riding a bicycle. We're never going to forget what we're doing. Is just, if you keep the stick in your hand a little bit, you do your part. And I think the biggest key is the conditioning, that you're able to come back and then, we don't have to start all over getting the legs back into shape. So, we've been on a running program. I met this wonderful woman from Wantagh, the lady Pastouche. She's outstanding. And young coach. I mean, she's outside the box. I mean, on the Instagram and everything. And a few of her kids I know, through the club circuit, and one of her kids is on one of our Yellow Jacket teams. So, I mean, we connected on social media, and then we were doing some competitions and some of that, girls lacrosse online challenge with each other. And, it's allowed me to keep in touch with, with the lacrosse community. I've been building a little bit more of a network with people, and my kids, I've stayed in contact with them. So, I mean.
Yeah, that's awesome. We know Robin real well. She coached in our program for a really long time and was really instrumental in helping a lot of girls through their recruiting process. She kind of used our program as a platform to really learn how to like just help girls through it, connect with college coaches. She was tremendous. She
No,
always
she's
went
good.
above and beyond.
Yeah. And I tell you, she's a lot like my daughter. My daughter's really outside the box. She's actually running a little bit of a morning show out in Connecticut. Trying to get her kids to connect with her kids in her school community, and she does a lot of work. She's a field hockey coach in the Branford School District, so she does a lot of stuff. We're both John Gordon advocates, so we've been doing some work back and forth. So it's been good for me because everybody's basically at a retired person's mindset right now. Everybody's home, and they're around, and I'm around, so we got a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. One thing I want to talk about once the show we get going is expanding your network. You mentioned that. I find that really interesting because like now when people are on a similar basically day to day timetable as you and itinerary is kind of similar. Being at home, to and from your devices, couple calls set up, you can kind of connect with more people, and more people I think are engaged on this online community right now.
Yeah, I tell you, it's been wonderful. I mean, you follow me. I do a lot of stuff on social media, but I mean, I've got a couple of different things going on. Like, there's like a Twitter family out there, and this guy Kurt Hines, who's one of the coaches out there. He's a very, very positive role model in the football community, and I've been going back and forth with him a little bit. I connect with John Gordon. I mean, I think his stuff is outstanding. I mean, I got the kids reading Training Camp. That was going to be like the focus of our season. That particular book. It's been good. It's been good. I mean, kudos to my daughter though. She's really opened me up into a lot of things that have made it easier for me to do some of the things that I've always wanted to do.
Sure. Hey Cliff, one question for you. I sent you a couple pictures. Did you load those in the system?
Yes, I did. There were like 3.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So one of the pictures, Bert, you mentioned what you did with Robin's Wantagh team. I wanted to pull up that Instagram post, which was like a competition, like an online competition.
Yes.
We could just kind of talk about it once Cliff pulls it up. You don't have to do it right this second, Cliff, but once the show gets going.
Okay. It's to all of you nurses. It's the 100 burpees over, and it factor, right?
It factor, yeah. So we just want to mention the Sinai girls on the effector list.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll bring those pictures in, just talk about them, and just try to talk about some of the positive stuff that's happening amongst a lot of negative. I mean, man, you hear about this kid who played at Bates, who's he's in a medically induced coma right now. He graduated in 2016, healthy kid, mid-20s, like stuff like that kills you to hear.
Yeah, stuff like that, and then the car accident that claimed those young girls.
Yeah,
I forget what it was from.
Yeah, she was Sayville girl, Maddie Mergel.
Coach Bertolone?
Yes.
Could you remember to sit back a little bit, please, so we stay the same size as Corey? I'm sorry to be a pain in the neck.
No problem, man.
But it's my job. Otherwise, Corey will fire me.
He might fire me if I don't sit up. Yeah, that was tough to hear.
That was a tragedy, man. I'm telling you, that was definitely a tragedy. I can't, So I mean, a lot of that stuff puts things into perspective. I'm really, it's a little bit different for me, especially age. It's like you kind of, my wife and I, we've gone round and round with this. There are bigger things than lacrosse. You know what I'm saying? But it's the lacrosse that makes it worthwhile to us. It's our life. But something like this is so is so big that the things that we do on a day-to-day basis are they're trivialized. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in life. This is these. I never thought that in my lifetime that we would have to go through something maybe my parents had gone through. With some of the trials and tribulations of World War II and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're not at that magnitude, but it's similar. That
Mm-hmm.
we're in a countrywide emergency, and we're in the midst of something that's going on globally that we have to respond to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I like to see when people use like their own communities to like just to help. So like for us, let's say it's the lacrosse community. We're in the town of Huntington. I heard a great foundation that's stepping up and doing something really interesting where it's called the 1653 Foundation. They basically try to
Yes.
improve the communities in the area, and they're basically keeping small restaurants in the town of Huntington in business by guaranteeing a certain amount of meals ordered per month, and all those
Yes.
meals are going to all the workers at the hospitals. And like
Yes.
that's brilliant. Like that could keep literally a business afloat over the next couple months, while others may not make it. And it's obviously helping all the people that are on the front lines.
Well, you're going to see a lot more of that happen, especially locally. You're going to see the community start to respond. I know we've gotten tremendous phone calls. Can we help? As far as with equipment, the masks, the eye protection, the gowns. We've had a lot of people, step up and rise to the occasion, and it's kind of gone through this lacrosse community out here in Suffolk County, all the way out through Shoreham, Wading River. A lot of people that were in contracting, and they were able to donate some supplies and kind of help some people out here in the on the front lines in the hospitals, the nurses and the EMTs and whatnot, until they get their refurbished supplies from the government. So you're going to see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that going on. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So we have about a minute. So Cliff, we'll roll the I guess the intro to the show in about a minute here.
Okay, and Corey, you need to
Once
sit back a
once
little bit. Remember, you want to be the same size
sure.
as the coach. Be
Yeah, sorry,
conscious of
I'm on this.
center screen and being the same size as the coach.
You got it.
Corey, you have to watch this exercise video.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept that you did, Cliff. I like the idea.
Check it out.
Taking
It's really looks great.
Yeah, I just listened to a really interesting podcast on just at home gyms, and obviously how a lot more people are starting to create their own if they haven't already, and it's interesting because you really have to have like there's no friction when you have an at home gym of like basically working out, because all you have to do is step
No,
outside
it's actually good, man. I tell you, you get a lot done with dumbbells and strength bands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
It's 2:00,
so
fellas.
I mean,
I'm going to run the open.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about that too, Bert.
Yeah, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. You're on.
All right, how we doing, everyone? This is Corey Winkoff here, host of Beyond the Game. I got a special guest today, Coach Al Bertolone, who's the head girls lacrosse coach over at Mount Sinai. We have him back on the show, although we're not in the studio, unfortunately. We're operating remotely here, which fortunately our producer Cliff at the Streamcast studio has been able to pull off, which is pretty amazing. So we're running our show through the studio. But Coach Bertolone and myself are both we're talking from home here, so that's where we're at. Coach Bird, how's everything going on your end? Is everyone happy and healthy?
Happy and healthy, buddy. Happy and healthy. Good to hear from you.
You too, man. I think that's what's most important right now is the people that are closest to you being safe, happy, and healthy, which is important. But there's obviously a lot of people right now fighting a pretty serious. I think unforgiving in some ways, also uncertain fight out there. So, a special thanks to all those people. Cliff, if you don't mind, before we get into our first commercial, can you please pull up the post that Coach Bertolone put together on his Instagram that gave a shout out to all the people that are on the front lines right now?
Which one is that, Corey?
So I think that was the first image that you had in there. Yeah, there you go. So Coach Bertolone, what kind of inspired you to post this?
There are a lot of first responders and a lot of nurses in our family. My Mount Sinai family. Just just a lot of those people I've been connected to. Some of their children are on my team now, and some of their children have been on our teams in the past. So my wife's friends, I have friends in it too. There's just a lot of nurses in our life, and these guys have been really grinding. So I just felt that it was a necessary post, just to make sure they had our thanks for for fighting the fight.
Yeah, no, I appreciate when I saw that. That was, I think a lot of times people, not only I think people's their day to days and their they've changed and they have a new normal and they're definitely on a different kind of wavelength and pace, which is good in a lot of ways. But I still think a lot of people are still caught up in what they need to do to help their own situation, which is understandable. But to take a second and give appreciation to those people who are the nurses and the doctors that are on the front lines, greatly appreciated. How have you heard within the lacrosse community, Coach Bertolone, like people going out of the way to help people like the nurses that are just working
Well, I
nonstop right
mean,
now?
I've had a couple of our nurse friends reach out to us. Some of the local hospitals out here. My former assistant coach, Jackie Lyons, she works at Peconic Bay, and they were in desperate need of face shields, and we tried to rally shields for them. I would still throw it out there to anybody in our area that has any type of protective eyewear or face shield. They could use them at Peconic Bay. You guys could message me, and I can rally. Uh, I have another nurse in the family. It's actually Raina Sabella's mom. Lenore works over at Stony Brook, and they were down to like their last face mask. We've been trying to get some face masks for them until they can, get their supplies that were en route. So if anyone out there, I would implore, especially those people from the lacrosse community, we can use some of those I-95 masks and some face shields and some protective eyewear, for our hospitals out here until they get resupplied.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's good to know. A lot of times people don't know how to help, and like giving a very specific, clear cut ask is a really good first step. I think the same thing I was telling you a little bit about the 1653 Foundation. They're basically working alongside small businesses and restaurants to produce prepackaged meals for the hospitals because people are a little tied up there, and any little thing helps. So you can go on a website like that and donate, and they have a lot of projects in motion, but I think that stuff is really big. Now, before we get into the rest of the show, we're gonna roll a quick commercial here from our sponsor, Epic Lacrosse, who's been really good to us and very supportive of our media coverage of Long Island lacrosse, and then also everyone's current situation. So we'll get a quick break here and come right back into it.
Are you ready?
All right, so Al, the current state of high school lacrosse on Long Island, for the most part, we're at a standstill. Things haven't been canceled, but it's not looking too promising. We can't look too far into the future, but I guess for you, how are you kind of reacting to this, and how have you sort of prepared your girls for this situation?
Well, I mean, you got to be the calm in the storm right here a little bit. These are uncharted water that we're heading into, and the kids are, they're apprehensive, they're anxious. Basically, starting with the collegiate season, they've had the rug pulled out from underneath them, and it's really a situation of finality for our seniors. And for those kids that have been in our program for a long time and they've gotten themselves, to their senior year and their last season, and there's so many good things that go on, in this last season, the last senior day, and it's been difficult for them, and I've tried to reach out to them, and I've tried to have those conversations that needed to be had, as far as kind of like tempering it a little bit, because they are very distressed. It's And again, it's the apprehension of what to expect. On one hand we have, lacrosse and all those things that go along with lacrosse, and on the other end we have a national, emergency. And we're in the midst of a pandemic. And I think all things have come together and created, a situation where there is a lot of anxiety out there, and you got to be there for the kids, and you got to make sure that they have an outlet, because it just can't just totally end. That's one of those things. You got to kind of have some things for them to do, and you got to stay connected with them. At least that's what I think.
Well, I noticed one really creative, I thought, engaging way that you've been able to connect and interact with your girls is kind of create some like competitions, as if you were going and competing against another team. So, Cliff, for a second, can you just pull up that post that you made with, it had like 100 burpees on it, and it looked like it was some sort of online competition that you ran against another team?
Yes, it was with Coach Pastuch from Wantor, and she actually is the one that came up with it. She reached out to me. It was great. There's been a few of them going on. This one was the 100 burpees over your stick challenge. With the kids, the kids were great. They did it. They filmed themselves in time lapse photography, so it was fast, and we wound up posting on both sites in our stories, and it was good. It was gave the kids something to to grasp on, to really look at. It was competitive, kind of fueled the juices a little bit. We had another one the other day where we did was a yoga challenge. Was more participatory. We did it with a yoga instructor. We did another one yesterday. We did it was a burpee and push-up challenge. U.S. Lacrosse has put out a number of these through some of the more popular players have been doing it online. It's been good. It's called the Online Girls Lacrosse Online Challenge, and it's going to be more of them. We're going to keep running with it a little bit. Do a few every other day or whatnot. They're good.
So if the season does come back here, and I guess the question first off is, if there's a when, and if you have any idea of the when, but more importantly, I guess, like what are your concerns in terms of like making sure your girls are prepared for the season if it comes back?
Well, the only real thing that I'm kind of, that you have to really sit on is their conditioning as far as their legs and, and their overall shape. I mean, you can't just, expect to come from doing nothing for 2-3 weeks and then just jump right back into it and get up and down the field. So if there's anything that we've tried to really impress upon them, and a lot of them, understand, like my guys, they're workout kids. They like to work out, But we've maintained a routine. They're running every other day. They're lifting. I kind of leave it up to them. I Zoomed with them yesterday. Some of the kids, they want a little bit more, a little more direction. I sent out a plan for them, like a nice 7-day plan today. Between doing some neighborhood running, some neighborhood sprinting, if they could get down to a field, what to do at a field, 3 houses, sprint, jog back. So I gave them some ideas. There are a lot of fitness and conditioning outfits out there that have put a lot of things online. 30-day challenge, each day is a body weight type thing. Some of my lifters, they have their dumbbells at the house, and they know, they're following their program. So, my big thing is we have everybody doing something, and I think that's very, very important. Yeah, I think it's important, if we come back, for whatever reduced season that we have. I think for the kids to remember that, irregardless, that, then we would move forward into the club lacrosse season, and, for the 22s, it's a very important recruiting time. So there's a lot of things that tie up in here. There's a lot of anxiety out there as far as the recruiting end of it. I know I'm going to do a Zoom with my 22s tonight and kind of put to ease some of the apprehension that they have about recruiting. There's just a lot. I mean, it's like, you would think that, we would just be worrying about this, the pandemic, but there's so many other dominoes that are falling. And, when it comes to kids, you got to make sure that, you let them know it's going to be okay. Else we have to know it's going to be okay. But for the most part, the kids, it's, to me, it's always about the kids. You got to take care of them. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, I think that's really smart how you are kind of getting ahead of it. Yes.
FYI, Facebook got interrupted.
Got interrupted?
Yeah, it's running again now, but it's spotty, and it's got
Okay.
to be Facebook because my stream looks pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. We'll just keep going, and then
Okay,
as
I'll
long
look
as it
at
looks good on
YouTube.
YouTube, that's what we'll use later.
I'll look at YouTube.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so one thing I was going to say, Al, with like your 22s, like you're getting ahead of it. You're understanding that there is anxiety. You're kind of understanding where it comes from, and you're alleviating it by having the conversation. I guess one question for you is like, as you approach those types of what can be difficult conversations for some coaches and mentors, like what are you going to do to try to help those girls through that? And like, what are some questions that you're preparing yourself to answer for those girls?
Well, I mean, I've answered some tough questions already. I mean, I reach out to them all the time. I mean, I'm a big texter, so I mean, I believe in communication. I mean, there are some kids that we've had our conversations, and they're okay. And then I think I have a few more kids that are there's some anxiety, and I think we got to solve that. I mean, you could appreciate this when I tell you that this is probably the hardest working group I've ever had here, as far as in terms of the amount of work that they did in the off season. And there was a pulse there that they feel they're being cheated, and why did we do all this work if we're going to lose this season, type of thing. And I had to cross that bridge and let them and explain to them that the reason why we play sports is to basically be able to respond to things like this, and to and when adversity confronts us in life, that we're able to handle it better than most, because we were athletes, and we played sports, and we understand what it is to be part of a team and respond to adversity and things like that. So yesterday we had just a little bit. Yesterday was a day where I just kind of put them on, and we just kind of talked a little bit, and I kind of centered everybody. And today I'm going to reach out to my leadership, my hard hat group, and we're going to talk about some of the things that the seniors, first and foremost, where we're moving forward with them. You know what I mean? And I have to try to plan for, like, if we get a reduced season here, we got to make sure we get senior day in. I got to make sure that that we take care of some of those items that you would consider part of your culture. And then on top of it, worry about things like am I going to, is there going to be the Under Armour senior game? And I got to make sure Jenny Markey's ready for that.
Right.
If she gets chosen and things like that. And I got to make sure that the 21s that are going to college understand that athletes can't take time off. You know what I mean? That we have to maintain our routine. We got to make sure that we understand that that athletes, we're on a different timetable, we're on a different grid. And then the 22s, I got to make sure that these guys understand that that there's going to be, whatever happens, it's going to work out. Worst case scenario, the fall is the most important time of the year. I can't say I can't believe that we're going to lose the summer, but I mean there's always the chance there. But I think once you're practical, and I think once you people the truth, and I think you talk to them in a very sensible way, that there's always going to be like sunshine on the other side of the storm clouds. You know what I mean? That things are going to work out.
Al, have you gotten a chance to talk to some of your alumni who are seniors in college, and like where's their head at, and like how they want to pursue this, whether they go on and become young professionals in the workforce, or maybe they kind of take advantage of what the NCAA has offered them up, which is another year of eligibility?
I don't have right now. There's like one or two. I mean, I would think ones that are at an academic school. I haven't had those conversations with those guys as of yet. Other than
Right.
Sorry for the end of the season and things like that. I've reached out to my alumni. A lot of them are coaching and whatnot, and I've gotten some feedback from them as to how they're handling certain things or whatnot. But I would think that if a young lady that's a senior in college that had the rug pulled out from underneath them the way these guys, I would think if they weren't ready to just jump into either corporate America, or they had a job lined up, most of our kids are doing their masters anyway. I think I've told you once before that part of what I do now is, as these kids are graduating college, I look to help them out getting GAs, and get their
Yeah.
masters. So I'm kind of thinking that some of these kids might be doing that. They might graduate, and then they might a GA, try to get their masters someplace and maybe play their fifth year, that extra year, or if they're going to stay at their school, maybe start the master's program if there's a master's program that goes along. That's what I could see happening. Not everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's person by person.
Sure, no doubt. And couple comments and questions are coming in, Coach Al. One directive, typically Jenny Markey should be chosen for the Under Armour games. So you got some Jenny Markey fans out there, which I agree.
Yeah, she should. I agree. Yes.
Also, a little bit of wisdom for lacrosse players. Someone submitted a letter from the state talking about the potential of Monday, April 27th being a determination date to officially examine the feasibility of hosting a spring state championship. Have you seen that letter?
Yes. I put it out on our Instagram site. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, do you think that could create some legitimate optimism for the lacrosse world at the high school level?
Well, I think it has to. I think you have to take it at face value that it is creating some optimism. I mean, we don't know what the future brings here. I mean, we got two happens. We'll see where the state of this virus is and how it's impacting New York, and I think everything that happens with us emanates from school. I mean, if they send this back to school, then we could resume a normal, school life, and and athletics and clubs and bands and things like that. We're gonna start again. I mean that's what we're looking at. So I think by them taking this approach, that they would look at this periodically. So, we'll get to April 1st. They'll kind of decide on what's happening with school. If they extend it, then there'll be I think what they're trying to do is they're trying not to put a blanket cancellation on things. I think they're trying to hold on, that if there's going to be an opportunity for us, to get back into a normal environment, that we would, and again, all I can do is hope and pray that, that good things happen, what I'm saying? And just like I told the team, I think we can hope for the best while we have an understanding that, it could go in a different direction.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think listen, it's important to have that positive outlook and be optimistic, but it's also important to be realistic and understand what's going on right now. Like we mentioned earlier, there's been some tragic events, related and unrelated to the virus. One specifically as it relates to what's going on right now is, the young man from who went to Bates in his mid-20s. I mean, he's in a really tough spot right now, trying to just survive this virus. And here's a healthy kid who was he was a decorated lacrosse player not too long ago in college. And I think it's important for kids to understand, like, this can happen really to anyone. It's not just happening to the immunocompromised people, like the elderly or the pregnant. It's like, here are young healthy kids that are being affected by the virus. So again, health is most important, and then resuming day to day and getting back to life is kind of second to that right now, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it. There's more important things than lacrosse. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, at 61 years of age, and I mean, I've been around the block a little bit, and I think that when people ask me those questions, I have to give them those straight up answers. That yes, we're in a fight right here. You know what I'm saying? So like, if and the people that make those decisions can put us in a normal situation and we can move forward, then I'm all for it. If we can't get to normal, then it's all about periodization. What's the next level? I mean, for me, the next level is going to be, are we going to be able to get the club lacrosse season started on time? How's that going to be impacted? You know what I mean? If we're going to just talk about us in our little world of lacrosse, I mean, that would be the next thing. I mean, as of right now, nothing's been impacted. The National Schoolgirls Tournament that runs in conjunction with the NCAA Final Four, that was canceled. But does the club season start on time? If it, and then if the club season doesn't start on time, when does it start? Do Do they create some different rules to extend some timetables in those dead periods and whatnot? Or, do we, or is it worst case scenario that we move on to the fall? I mean, you just don't know. I mean, and just brainstorming, but these are the kind of things that kind of cross my mind that I feel like I gotta take care of with my kids and the kids there. I still have a few 21s on my yellow jacket team that we have to place and whatnot. And, things were going great. And then, again, I think one of the things that I've learned, in my lifetime is that when things are going well, sometimes you just, you get the rug pulled out from underneath you, like you never saw it coming. And this is one of those things.
Right.
Yeah, unless you had a crystal ball, watching the news, and my wife would come home and I'm saying, man, there's some bad stuff going on here in China. And it's like, and it all unfolded so fast that it was almost like it was surreal. It was like a movie. It was like Outbreak, bang, and it's like the next thing you're sitting here and you're watching, Governor Cuomo, give a pretty good depiction of what's happening and trying to get ahead of it and everything. And and then you have kids, mingling in the parks and still trying to keep a business as usual and like there's nothing wrong. We're trying to tell them, we have to social distance. We have to shut down. We got to take care of business for 2 weeks. And I think as athletes, because I know myself as a wrestler, if you told me I couldn't do something, and I can modify and I can adapt that. Okay, I won't do that. And it's some people are having a hard time with this. It's like, oh no, we can still go to the bar and have a drink. No, we can still do this. Oh, we can still get the family together. It's not. And what's happening is like, I know especially in our family and our friends is that we have people that are contracting this virus, and I think people have to understand that we're going to have to follow directions here. We're going to have to be good teammates. We're going to have to do those things that sport teaches us to do, and shut down. And and hopefully in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, good things start to happen for us.
Yeah, I've spent you said a lot of great just great insight there. And I think you talked about the 21s as an example because just helping some of those players through the process. It's very difficult to go from advising someone, specifically a 21 boy or girl, to be like, your focus right now is on the season. You're not even thinking about recruiting. You just focus on being the best player, best teammate, best leader for Mount Sinai right now. And then to kind of like on the flip side say, okay, now you might need to shift gears a little bit. You're still thinking about your season, you're still thinking about this, but it's actually now a decent time to engage with coaches a little bit, maybe send a video out. And I think it's tough to kind of flip the script a little bit. It's confusing. I think it's a little frustrating. And for you, have you kind of had a similar, thought where it's like, okay, listen, maybe you can take advantage now of this opportunity as maybe a 21 who's uncommitted looking for a home?
I don't have a lot of kids left. I have like there might be 1 or 2 more left at Mount Sinai that are going to play at the Division III level or the Division II level. I mean, we have to, we were kind of waiting for the season. I was going to get a little film together for them and continue to process, and I'm going to continue to process for them. Anyway, I had I have a couple of 21s on my yellow jacket team that I reached out to. It's where are we at? How I have we have the time right now to make some more contacts. There's not a lot on my end, and in general there's really not a lot. That, Corey. I mean, it's at this point in time the 21s are just about done. You know what I'm saying? But I think we have to think outside the box and help those kids now. Even though that we have an impending season and we're in the midst of our high school season, I think we have to do those things as well. Make contact with those that we need to do. It's it's just good for the kids. You know what I mean? We're in that position. I know, like my philosophy at Mount Sinai is once school season starts, it's all about the school. You know what I mean? It's like but that's always been conducive to people being finished. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you still have a couple of kids that aren't finished, I think you have to be cognizant of that and you have to work with them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no doubt.
I just think I think that's part of the job, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I love it. I mean, nothing gets bigger smile. Nothing feels better when, a student calls you and says, hey, I just committed to so-and-so, and they're happy with their decision. So, no, it's all good. Now, we're going to take a quick break here. We have a couple minutes left. We'll a couple closing statements here, a comment that we'll get to after a quick word from Epic Lacrosse here.
This is the beginning of meditation.
You're back.
All right, so we're back. We're back live here with Coach Bertolone. A few minutes left on our Beyond the Game episode around the state of high school lacrosse right now, which is a little uncertain. People want to know when we're resuming, and obviously, we're not sure, but it's cool to get your girls engaged through it. What's maybe, Coach Al, what's like a piece of advice maybe you can give to a girl that's going through this right now, whether she be a senior or younger, that allows her to kind of still keep her eye on the prize and stay engaged with her team and her teammates and just become the best player she could be?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm gonna start it off with just remember why you're an athlete. You're an athlete and you play sports because it prepares you for life. And and in life there are things that are good and things that happen that are not so good. And we're in the midst of something that's not so good. And sport has prepared you for this. If you're someone that's moving on to college, you owe it to yourself to stay in great shape, to be that athlete true to your sport and what you're trying to pursue, post high school and collegiately. The kids that I feel for are the kids that were kids that have been in my program for a number of years. This was their turn to, have an opportunity to play and have a role that they've worked very, very hard for. And all I can tell those people that if we do lose time or we do lose a season, that hard work is not for nothing. That hard work prepares you for life. It prepares you for, post sports, business world, in your profession, in your occupations, with your family one day. It's when tough times hit. It's the hard work that makes you or allows you to persevere. It's the grit that you build and that allows you to handle the bumps in the road that life throws at you. The underclassmen, they're fortunate; they get to come back, and they get their because they get to see the big picture. Like they get to see the class in front of them. Something was where those kids that the rug was pulled out from underneath them, and then there's a finality there. Like you never really think it's over. There's always the cliche: you got to play every game like it's your last. And sometimes like I wonder about that. We play a lot of lacrosse in the off season. One of the last games we played was a winter league game. I was very, very happy. How well we played and whatnot. And getting older. It's like. You never know from year to year what happens. I don't really want my last game to be, that game that we lost in the county final last year. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to call
Sure.
it a little bit of a better shot. But it goes. We're gonna get through this as a team, as a community, as a nation. You know what I'm saying? We will persevere.
Yeah, I appreciate the words and the advice, and just speaking and getting a chance to talk to some some of the better players around the island that I've Skyped with and just talked to, just get their perspective. I'm so impressed by, even though how young and in certain ways inexperienced some of the men and women are that I've spoken to, and I'm obviously dealing with something that's unfortunate but also uncertain, just how well they're responding and how positive that they're being, and like how much, like you mentioned, they're adapting to these times. And the fact that some of these kids have a routine already after being home from school for such a short period of time and know exactly when they're running, when they're lifting, when they're getting their work done in such a short window just kind of shows you, like you said, how athletes can adapt to something that is just, no one expected to come. So it's cool. It was cool to hear from some of those players and get their perspective on that.
Absolutely, man. I think it's the most important thing is that kids understand that, you know, lacrosse doesn't define you. The work you put into lacrosse, it defines you, because that's the kind of stuff that lasts beyond, you know, beyond the game. You know what I mean? It's the things you carry into life with you. Those life lessons. Those are the things that you'll hold on to those for the rest of your life. You know. So,
Absolutely. I think looks like Coach Al he might have frozen on us, but unfortunately we're out of time. So we appreciate Coach Al. If you can hear me right now, you're frozen on my end, but if you can hear me, thank you so much for coming on here today. You know, your insight and your experience is always it's always great to hear from you, and especially times like this, I think sometimes people really need that. They need a foundation and a mentor and a coach like you to look up to, so they kind of know how to proceed and get through it. So if you can hear me, thanks for your time, and we'll be on next week, same time at 2:00 on Tuesday, and we'll be meeting and talking to two amazing directors from the New York State Regional Championships, and those are great guys who have a lot of experience with great perspective as well. So we'll see you guys next week.